My phone lit up with a message so blunt it could have slapped me across the face. "Join Christmas? Come wash the dishes." That was it. No greeting, no invitation, just a command, delivered like I was the family's unpaid help. I stood at my kitchen counter with a cup in my hand and let the words glare back at me. Then I typed one response. "Enjoy." I tapped send and placed the phone on the table. The screen dimmed. The room stayed still. The second I looked away, the phone buzzed again. "Nora, please confirm. We need you here early." I pulled out a chair and sat. No rush, no panic. Just a quiet moment while the phone kept vibrating as if urgency could force obedience out of me. Ethan's name appeared next. "Mom, can you answer?" The sequence was predictable. Nora issued orders. Ethan followed with cleanup attempts. I watched the notifications stack on the screen, each one more desperate than the last. Another text from Nora popped up. "Everyone has a role. Yours is the kitchen." I lifted the phone, not to answer, but to reread that line. Yours is the kitchen. The confidence, the entitlement, the assumption that I should fall in line. I set the phone down again and walked to the sink. I filled my cup with water, took one sip, and placed it beside the faucet. The phone buzzed behind me. Last year's memory cut through the moment. Nora handing me a pile of dishes before I even took off my coat. "You can start with these. They're from brunch." Ethan hovering behind her, eyes lowered, pretending to adjust his watch. His silence always arrived on time. The phone kept vibrating. I turned, picked it up, and scanned the next message. "Ethan, Mom, she's not trying to be rude. We just need help today." I leaned against the counter, steady, and watched the screen fade as the phone locked. I unlocked it again, just to look at the first message one more time. "Join Christmas? Come wash the dishes." I whispered, "There it is." Another buzz. "Nora, if you can't wash dishes, just say so." I blinked once, slow, controlled. I typed nothing back. The phone rang. Ethan's name flashed. I let it ring until the screen went dark. It lit up again instantly. I pressed the side button and ended the call. A new text appeared. "Mom, answer, please." Another from Nora dropped in right after. "We're counting on you. Don't leave us hanging." I almost laughed, but I kept still. I walked to the small tree I had set up in the corner. Simple lights, a few ornaments, nothing fancy. I straightened the top branch. The phone vibrated against the table again. "Ethan. Mom, are you coming or not?" I sat down. I placed both hands on the table. Then I picked up the phone and typed, "I'm not available." I sent it. The bubble popped up immediately. "Ethan. What? Why?" Nora followed fast. "You can't be serious. We already planned around you." Planned around me. Meaning, planned around the free labor they expected me to provide. The phone rang again. I let it ring. When it stopped, another message arrived. "Nora, this is unbelievable." I picked up the phone and finally typed, "What's unbelievable is the way you speak to me." I sent it and placed the phone face down. My kitchen felt brighter without the screen flashing every second. 5 seconds passed before more vibrations rolled across the table. "Ethan. Mom, can we talk? She didn't mean it like that." Another buzz. "Nora. We opened our home to you. The least you can do is contribute." I turned the phone over. Contribute. That was her word for me washing dishes while she hosted, posed for photos, and accepted compliments for a holiday she barely lifted a finger to prepare. I typed again. "I won't be there." Before the message bubble even finished sending, 3 more notifications stacked up. "Ethan, tell me what's wrong." "Nora, you're being dramatic." Nora again. "We just need help. Don't make this difficult." I lifted the phone and finally delivered the line they never expected. "I'm not your help." I pressed send. The message shot out. I placed the phone on the table one last time. It buzzed again, but I didn't pick it up. I turned off the kitchen light, walked to the window, and looked out at the quiet street. Snow collected along the curb in soft lines. No noise, no pressure, no demands. Behind me, the phone buzzed over and over, each vibration weaker than the last. I didn't turn around. I'd already answered. The house stayed quiet after my last message, but I knew it wouldn't last. It never did. Whenever Nora felt challenged, she doubled down. Whenever Ethan felt cornered, he panicked. I stood in my kitchen, wiping the counter with slow, steady strokes, when the first vibration hit. Ethan. Mom, can we talk? I locked the phone without responding. The second vibration arrived before the screen even dimmed. Nora. We don't understand this behavior. I set the phone down and opened a cabinet. I pulled out a small storage box. Old Christmas ornaments from when Ethan was little. The lid creaked. Inside, everything was exactly where I had last left it. A felt stocking, a paper star, a little wooden train missing a wheel. The phone buzzed again. Nora, you used to be grateful. I placed the stocking on the table. My thumb brushed the stitched letters of Ethan's name. Another buzz. Ethan. She didn't mean it like that. I finally lifted the phone. I typed, like what? He responded instantly. Like you're only there for chores. A pause, then another message. We just need help today. I typed, I'm not help. The typing bubble on his end appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, Mom, you know how she gets. I put the phone down and let that sentence sit where it belonged. I remembered the first time Nora got like that, the year after my husband died. I'd walked into their house holding a tray of homemade cookies because it was all I could manage that winter. Nora stepped aside and motioned toward the kitchen with her chin. Just put it down. No hello, no hug, not even a glance at the cookies. She walked off to rearrange throw pillows without missing a beat. Ethan appeared behind her, adjusting his shirt cuffs. Mom, hi, he mumbled before disappearing again. I placed the tray on the counter and stood there, hands clasped, unsure if I should follow or stay. A moment later, Nora poked her head into the kitchen. We're doing family photos. Can you wait a minute? I moved toward the dining room. She extended one hand toward my shoulder, blocking me. No, I meant immediate family. My steps stopped. Her smile didn't. That year, Ethan never noticed I wasn't in a single Christmas picture. The present-day phone buzzed again. Nora, you're making this difficult. I typed, difficult for who? No answer. I opened the ornament box again and lifted the felt reindeer missing an eye. Ethan had made it when he was 6. The glue had dried in uneven lines. I held it for a second before placing it next to the stocking. The phone vibrated again, then again. 4 times in a row. Nora, we planned around you. Don't ruin this. You know everyone is expecting you in the kitchen. Stop dragging this out. I leaned on the counter and typed, I'm not coming. The reply came in seconds. Nora, why are you being emotional? I locked the phone and walked to the living room. I switched on the lamp beside the couch. Warm light filled the corner. Another buzz. Ethan, Mom, what happened? She's upset. I typed, I told you I'm not help. He responded fast. No one said you were. I typed back, your wife did. Silence for a moment. Then, just ignore her tone. I exhaled once through my nose. I typed, no. He didn't reply. A new message from Nora came instead. You always make things about you. I typed, you sent me a job assignment. Another buzz. Nora, it wasn't a job. It was teamwork. I typed, teamwork requires respect. No answer. I placed the phone on the couch and returned to the ornament box. I picked up the wooden train and turned it in my hand. One wheel was missing. It never bothered Ethan when he was a child. He used to push it across the floor anyway, telling me it could still go. Another buzz. Ethan, Mom, can we reset? Just come for dinner. I typed, I'm not going where I'm not treated like family. He didn't respond. Nora did. You're acting entitled. I typed, you texted me instructions. She replied immediately. You never complain when we need something. I typed, you never ask, you tell. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. That's just how our household works. I stared at the sentence, then I typed, "Not mine." I set the phone down and closed the ornament box. As I slid it back onto the shelf, another vibration rattled the kitchen table. Ethan. "Mom, please, she's crying now." I typed, "Because she lost control, not because she cares." Silence. Then, "What do you want from us?" I typed one line. "Respect." The reply took longer this time. "Ethan, I thought we gave you that." I typed, "No, you gave me tasks." The typing bubble on his end appeared again, slowly now, like he finally realized the pattern he'd helped build. Another message from him. "Okay, tell me what you need." I leaned against the counter, steady. I typed, "I need you to hear me." Before he could respond, another message from Nora burst onto the screen. "You're ruining Christmas." I typed, "No, I'm removing myself from the part where I'm treated like the maid." I pressed send and placed the phone face down on the table. It buzzed twice, then stopped. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel like disappearance. It felt like a boundary. The envelope arrived before I finished sweeping the kitchen floor. A sharp knock hit the door, quick and firm. I opened it to find a courier holding a cream-colored envelope sealed with dark red wax. No small talk, no questions. He handed it over and walked off. I looked at the front. Bauer and Stein, Zurich. The name didn't belong to any part of my life. I carried it to the table and broke the seal. A letter slid out along with a business card. Before I even unfolded the paper, my phone rang with an international number. I answered. A controlled voice greeted me. "This is Falk Bauer from Zurich. We sent a legal notice to you." I kept my tone even. "I'm looking at something from your office now. You were listed as a beneficiary of Ms. Renate Richter. We need to confirm your identity." I rested my hand on the table. "You're speaking to the right person." "We have instructions to inform you immediately," his voice continued. "Ms. Richter left you a residential property valued at approximately $3 million and a monthly trust of $18,000. I pulled out the chair and sat. "Repeat that." "A property and a trust," he confirmed. "Effective immediately." I pressed my palm against the table to steady the papers. "Why me?" "Her written statement describes you as a person she trusted. She requested direct contact, not a mailed summary." I unfolded the document. I'm reading her signature. "There is more," he added. "She left a handwritten note inside the packet. Please review it." I slid the pages aside until I found a smaller folded sheet. Renate's handwriting filled the front. I didn't open it yet. My phone buzzed with a new notification. "Ethan." I ignored it. I returned to the call. "What do I need to do next?" "We will arrange travel to Lucerne. Your presence is required to complete the transfer. You can choose the earliest available date." I lifted the envelope. "Send me the details." "You will receive them shortly," he confirmed. "We look forward to meeting you. Ms. Richter held you in high regard." The line disconnected. My phone vibrated again. "Ethan." "Mom, what's going on? Call me." Another vibration. "Nora." "Why aren't you answering? We need information." I placed the phone face down and finally opened Renate's handwritten note. 4 short lines stared back at me. "You gave me kindness when you had nothing. Now take what I left you. Live well. Live on." I folded the note and tucked it into my pocket. My phone buzzed again. "Ethan." "Are you okay?" I typed back, "I'm fine." His response came instantly. "Then talk to us." Nora jumped in. "Whatever you're hiding, it affects all of us." I stared at her message for a second before typing, "It affects no one but me." A pause. Then another message from Nora. "You're being evasive." I typed, "No, I'm being private." I lifted the main document again. Every number was printed clearly. Every clause was simple. No tricks, no conditions. Renate had made sure of it. My phone buzzed twice. "Ethan." "Are you traveling?" Nora. "If this is about yesterday, we apologized." I typed, "I'm unavailable." Ethan responded instantly. "What does that mean?" I typed, "Exactly what it says." Another buzz. "Nora, We deserve answers. I typed, "You deserve what you've earned." No answer. I stood, grabbed the envelope, and walked to the closet to pull out a small suitcase. I placed it on the bed, unzipped it, and returned to the kitchen to collect the documents. My phone buzzed again. Ethan. "When are you coming here?" I typed. "I'm not." Nora joined in. "You're being reckless." I typed, "I'm being treated with respect elsewhere." The message sent instantly. I zipped the suitcase shut and placed the envelope inside the front pocket. My phone vibrated again on the counter. "Ethan." "Mom, don't go without talking to us." I typed, "You had years to talk." Another buzz. "Nora." "You're overreacting." I typed back, "You told me to wash your dishes." Silence held for 10 seconds before she answered. "That's not what I meant." I typed, "You meant exactly that." I put the phone into my coat pocket and grabbed my keys. My suitcase rolled smoothly behind me as I walked toward the door. One more vibration. "Ethan." "Where are you going?" I typed, "Forward." I stepped outside, closed the door behind me, and walked down the path toward the street. The air was cold, clean, and sharp. My phone buzzed one last time, but I didn't check it. I rolled the suitcase forward and kept moving. The flight to Zurich landed in the early morning. I powered my phone on just long enough to see a flood of notifications, then powered it off again. At the exit, a man held a sign with my name. He stepped forward. "Klaus Meyer, I'm assigned to you." I nodded and followed him to the car. Snow lined the road outside. No noise, no chaos, just clean pavement and cold air. Once inside the car, he checked the mirror. "Ms. Richter trusted very few people. You were one of them." I rested my hands on my lap. She never told me that. She didn't tell anyone. She simply acted on it. He turned onto a main road. Buildings passed in quick succession. He glanced at me again. "She said you once gave up everything for the wrong people." I kept my tone flat. She wasn't subtle. She didn't believe in subtle. He adjusted the heater. She believed in justice. The road narrowed as we drove deeper into Lucerne. Snow hung on the trees like thin white lines. Klaus pointed toward the lake. She loved this view, said it cleared her mind. I looked out. The water was still. The mountains rose behind it. Nothing dramatic, just clean. Klaus continued driving. She prepared everything before her health declined. She didn't want anyone interfering with her decisions. That sounds like her. It was. He slowed as we approached a gated entrance. "Welcome to House Richter." The gate opened automatically. The villa came into view, structured, quiet, and steady. No gold, no shine, just order. Klaus parked and walked around to open my door. Inside the entryway, a woman waited, hands clasped neatly. "I am Ingrid Hoffman, the housekeeper. She wanted me to greet you personally." I stepped inside. "Thank you." "She prepared this house for you years ago," Ingrid continued, "even before she told me your name." "That early?" "She said you would return when you remembered who you were." I kept my expression unchanged. "Show me the main rooms." "Of course." She led me through the hall. Her steps were measured, direct. Dining room on the left, study on the right, kitchen in the back. She preferred simple spaces. We stopped at a large window overlooking the lake. Ingrid stepped aside. She stood here every morning. I glanced at the glass. The lake reflected a pale sky. Ingrid turned slightly. She used to say, "This view demands honesty." I didn't answer. A buzz vibrated in my coat pocket. I didn't take the phone out. Ingrid noticed, but didn't comment. "The attorney will arrive tomorrow to finalize everything." "Good." She gestured toward the sitting room. "There is tea prepared. You traveled a long way." I followed her inside. The fireplace was lit. A tray of tea waited on the table. As she poured, she spoke evenly. She believed peace required boundaries. I lifted the cup. She was right. Klaus stepped into the doorway. "If you need anything, I'll be nearby." Ingrid nodded to him, and he left. Another vibration hit my coat pocket. Ingrid glanced at it once. "The world outside tends to demand too much." "I'm aware." She folded her hands. You have no obligations to anyone who treats you poorly. I looked at her directly. I'm aware of that too. She nodded once, satisfied. Then you will like this house. She stepped back toward the doorway. There are items she left specifically for you. They're in the next room. I followed her to a smaller room. She opened a drawer and pulled out a stack of envelopes tied with a thin cord. She wrote these gradually. Some are instructions, some are memories. She left no confusion about their purpose. Which is? To remind you who you are. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. I removed it just long enough to read the notifications. Ethan. Mom, where did you go? Ethan again. We're worried. Nora. You can't run away. We need to talk. Nora again. Whatever this is, include us. I powered the phone off again. Ingrid watched without judgment. She expected resistance from people who used you. I placed the phone in my coat pocket. They're predictable. Yes, Ingrid turned. Sit. There is one more thing she wanted you to see immediately. I followed her back to the sitting room. Klaus wheeled in a small chest. Simple, square, wooden. He lifted the lid and stepped back. Inside was a folder with my name on it. I pulled it out and opened it. The first page held a short message from the attorney, confirming the villa transfer. The second page held another handwritten note from Renate. 4 lines. You forgot your strength, so I saved it for you. Take it now. Use it well. I folded the note and placed it in my coat pocket. Klaus watched, then spoke quietly. She was proud of you, even when you weren't. I didn't respond. I closed the folder and set it on the table. Another buzz vibrated through my coat, my phone trying to power itself back on. I turned it fully off again. Ingrid stepped forward. Dinner will be ready in an hour. Something warm. Thank you. She nodded once and left the room. Klaus remained at the doorway. If anything troubles you, tell me. Nothing troubles me, I replied. He nodded slowly. Then you're already doing better than most. He walked off. I stood by the window and looked at the lake again. No noise, no demands, no instructions disguised as invitations. Lucerne didn't need anything from me, and that was exactly why I came. Ingrid placed a single envelope on the table after dinner. No stack, no decoration, just one envelope, cream-colored, edges sharp, my name written in Renate's handwriting. She stepped back. She wanted you to read this alone. I nodded once. She left the room and closed the door quietly behind her. I pulled out the chair, sat down, and slid a finger under the flap. The paper inside unfolded with a crisp snap. Renate's handwriting filled the page, steady and unmistakable. I read the first line out loud, my voice low in the quiet room. Don't waste years being small. I blinked once and kept reading. You were never meant to stand behind anyone, not partners, not children, not people who use your softness and pretend it's weakness. I set the letter down for a second. The words didn't float, they didn't sting, they landed like instructions. My phone vibrated in my coat pocket. I didn't reach for it. I picked the letter up again. You cared for me when you had nothing. You protected me when others walked away. Now take what I left you. Live loudly, live fully, live without permission. I leaned back in the chair. No emotion, just clarity. Renate didn't write wishes. She wrote commands. The vibration hit again, then again, then again. I ignored them. I returned my eyes to the page. You are not fragile. You are not old news. And you are not finished. Another buzz. I slid the phone out, glanced at the screen. Ethan. Mom, please call. This is serious. Nora. Where are you? We need answers. Ethan. We're worried. Nora. You're being dramatic again. I turned the phone off and placed it face down on the table. I read the last lines of the letter. You survived more than they know. Stop letting people treat you like background. Be magnificent instead. Magnificent. She wrote it clearly. No flourish, no hesitation. I folded the letter and placed it carefully back into the envelope. A soft knock brushed the door. Come in, I said. Ingrid stepped in with 2 cups of tea. She set one in front of me. She wrote that when she was ill. She wanted you to read it in this room. I tapped the envelope lightly. She always knew what she wanted. She always knew who deserved better, Ingrid replied. I lifted the cup. She leave many letters? A few. None like this one. Klaus appeared in the doorway. Everything all right? I nodded once. Yes. He stepped in, hands behind his back. When she finished writing that letter, she told me, give this to her when she remembers she is not a servant. I lowered the cup. She said that? She did, he answered. She believed you forgot your own weight. I looked at the envelope again. Not anymore. Another vibration buzzed from the phone, even though it was off, trying to restart from the earlier attempts. Ingrid glanced toward it. Trouble? No, I replied. Just noise. Ingrid nodded once and stepped out. Klaus shifted slightly. Do you want me to handle anything? Calls? Messages? No, they can handle the silence. He gave a faint smile. As you wish. He left the room. I set the tea down, took the envelope again, and read the first line one more time. Don't waste years being small. The door pushed open again. Ingrid, this time holding a small wooden box. One more thing she set aside for you. She placed it on the table and stepped back. I lifted the lid. Inside rested a simple silver pen and a note beneath it. Write the next part of your life with this, not the old part. I closed the box. Ingrid waited. She wanted you to leave with strength, not sadness. She got what she wanted, I replied. A quiet moment passed before Ingrid inclined her head and stepped out again. I gathered the letter, the pen, and the box, placing them neatly on the table. I looked at the doorway where they had both stood. No crowd, no demands, no one waiting to assign me chores disguised as affection. Another vibration tried to power the phone on. I ignored it and focused only on the letter. Renate wasn't sentimental. She didn't write comfort. She wrote truth. She wrote instructions. She wrote permission I didn't actually need, just the reminder that I never should have waited for it. I stood, folded the letter once more, and slipped it into my coat. The pen went into the pocket beside it. The box remained on the table, its weight solid, quiet, and final. Before I turned off the light, I whispered the last line Renate wrote, not like a prayer, but like a decision already made. Be magnificent instead. I stepped out of the room. The hallway was bright, warm, steady, exactly like the life she had built for me before she left the world. My phone vibrated again behind me, fighting to turn itself back on. I didn't go back for it. I kept walking. Klaus met me in the hallway, holding a black case. He lifted it slightly. She left this for you. I opened the case. A Leica rested inside, spotless. She kept it all this time? She cleaned it every month, Klaus replied. She told me, give it to her when she stops shrinking. I closed the case gently. She knew me too well. Ingrid stepped beside him. She wanted you to use it today. Then I will. They led me through the villa until we reached the balcony. The cold air hit quickly, clean and sharp. I lifted the camera and took a single photo of the lake. Ingrid watched the shot. She said you saw truth through a lens. It's easier than seeing it in people. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I ignored it. Another vibration followed, then another. Klaus nodded toward the door. They're persistent. They're predictable, I replied. We walked inside. Ingrid poured tea and set the cup down. You may want to turn the phone on. Your picture is already noticed. I powered it on. Notifications exploded across the screen. Dozens of alerts from my social feed. Comments filled my recent post. Where is this? Looks expensive. Is she rich now? How can she afford Switzerland? Wish this was my life. Then another. Who's paying for this? Looks suspicious. I locked the screen. The internet moves fast. Ingrid folded her arms. Envy moves faster. My phone buzzed again. Ethan. Mom, Where are you? Another message immediately. Did you leave the country? Then Nora joined. This affects all of us. Call immediately. I typed, nothing involves you. She replied instantly. You vanished. People are asking questions. I typed, let them. Klaus walked into the room with a folder. The attorney's preparing the final papers. He'll be ready soon. Good. My phone buzzed again. Ethan, just tell us what's happening. I typed, you never listened before. He replied instantly, we're listening now. Nora jumped in. You're embarrassing us. I typed, I'm not responsible for your image. Ingrid watched quietly. You're calm. I've had practice. Another ping. Nora, explain the Switzerland photo. I typed, I don't report to you. 3 dots appeared, vanished, then appeared again. You're overreacting. I typed, no, I'm living. The attorney arrived. A tall man in a dark coat stepped in and placed documents on the table. This finalizes the villa transfer. The trust payment begins next month. I signed quickly. Everything in her instructions stays unchanged? Yes, she wanted no interference. Good. He placed a sealed envelope beside the papers. She added a note when she updated the trust. She asked me to deliver it personally. I opened it. One line stared back. They underestimated you. Don't confirm their mistake. I slid the note into my coat. She stayed consistent. She stayed loyal, the attorney answered. My phone buzzed again. Ethan, Mom, please pick up. I typed, I'm busy. He responded, busy with what? I typed, freedom. Nora appeared again. You can't treat family this way. I typed, you never treated me like family. A long pause. Then, let's reset. I typed, I already did. I placed the phone face down. Ingrid stepped closer. They sound frantic. They're losing something they never earned. Klaus re-entered with a small leather album. She asked me to give you this after the papers were signed. I opened it. Photos filled the pages. Renate, the villa, the lake, the staff. At the back, one photo remained. Me, years ago, unaware she was taking it. Ingrid looked at it. She said that picture captured your real strength. She always recognized what others ignored. Another vibration shook the table. Ethan, just tell me if you're okay. I typed, better than okay. He replied, then why didn't you tell us about anything? You never asked about my life, I wrote. Only what I could do for yours. Silence from his end. 10 seconds later, Nora cut in. So you're wealthy now. Does that mean we're excluded? I typed, you excluded me years ago. She fired back instantly. We deserve transparency. I typed, you deserve honesty. Here it is, my life is mine again. Klaus glanced at my phone. You handle confrontation cleanly. I stopped apologizing. The phone buzzed once more. Ethan, can we talk on video? Just for a minute. I typed, no. Why not? He wrote back. I don't owe you explanations. I placed the phone down again. The screen dimmed. Ingrid stepped beside me and pointed to the Leica. Take another photo. She wanted you to use that camera to mark every beginning. I lifted it. Then this is one. I stepped onto the balcony again. The light was sharp, clear, real. I took a second photo. Another buzz hit my pocket. I ignored it. I took a third, another buzz, a fourth, a fifth. Ingrid watched with a small nod. Let them wait. They will, I replied. I lowered the camera and looked toward the lake. They're used to giving orders. They'll adjust, she answered. No, I replied. They'll learn. Klaus stepped outside. The attorney has left. Everything is officially yours. I nodded once. Tell him thank you. He returned inside. My phone buzzed again. Nora, this is out of control. I typed one final line. You controlled nothing. I turned the phone face down, lifted the Leica again, and took another photo. The world finally looked sharp. My phone finally powered back on after I set it to charge in the study. The moment the screen lit, the call came in. Ethan. Not a message. A full call. The kind he only made when Nora pushed him to the edge. I let it ring twice before picking up. What? He inhaled sharply. Mom, are you being scammed? No. You disappeared. You're posting from Switzerland. People online are asking questions. We're getting messages. Are you okay? I'm fine. A beat. Then Nora's voice erupted in the background. Too loud, too close. Ask her who she's with. Ask her why she didn't tell us. Ask her what she's hiding. Ethan lowered his tone. Mom, we're concerned. You weren't concerned when your wife texted me instructions. Silence. Not the polite kind, the guilty kind. Ethan cleared his throat. Yesterday was a misunderstanding. No. Yesterday was clarity. Mom. No. My voice stayed even. You two only reach for me when you want control back. Nora shouted again from behind him. She's being manipulated. No woman her age just travels to Europe alone. Something's wrong. I tapped the camera case on the table with my finger. Something was wrong. I fixed it. Ethan tried again. Where are you staying? Somewhere you weren't invited to order me around. Mom, we're worried. You're noisy, I corrected. Not worried. I heard movement. Then Nora snatched the phone from him. You can't talk to us like this. I just did. You owe us an explanation. I don't owe you anything. That's ridiculous. You told me to wash your dishes. The line went dead silent for half a second. Even she couldn't talk through that. I continued. You handed me chores. You assigned me roles. You erased me from your photos. You used my time, my energy, my presence. That ends now. Nora's breath sharpened. You're acting ungrateful. No, I'm simply not obedient. She scoffed. Where did you even get money to fly internationally? This doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense to you. We deserve transparency. You deserve honesty. Here it is. I am done being treated like staff. She sputtered. We didn't. You did. Over and over. I didn't mean. You meant every word. My tone did not rise. You told me to wash dishes, not join Christmas, not celebrate. Wash dishes. Ethan wrestled the phone back. His voice trembled. Mom, please, just come home. We can talk. I don't live in your version of home. We can start over. I already did. But we love you, he pushed, voice cracking. No, I answered. You fear losing what you benefited from. That's not fair. Neither were your actions. He exhaled shakily. Okay, fine. What do you want? Money? Help? What? Respect. A long silence stretched across the call. Then Nora snapped. We always respected you. I laughed once. Short. Respect isn't asking your husband's mother to report for kitchen duty. That message was casual. It was degrading. You're twisting everything. No, I replied. I'm finally speaking plainly. Nora hissed. All this because you're having a moment in Switzerland? All this because I woke up. Ethan tried again. Just tell us what's going on, please. You assume I'll break if you press enough, I said. I won't. We're worried sick. You're worried about losing control. Mom, you ignored me until you needed something. Now you call because you need clarity for your image, not my well-being. And Nora snapped. You're being dramatic. You're being exposed, I answered. A small, sharp gasp hit the mic. I continued. You didn't ask why I left. You didn't ask if I was safe. You only asked what I was doing, who I was with, what it meant for you. That's not true, Nora pressed. It's written in your messages. She paused. Then, when are you coming back? Not soon. You can't stay there forever. I can stay where I'm respected. You're running away. I'm standing up. Nora's voice turned shrill. People think you're rich now. They're asking us questions. You need to manage this. No, I replied. You need to adjust. To what? To the fact that you don't own me. Ethan tried one last time. Mom, what if we come to you? You're not invited. Another stunned silence. Nora burst. We're family. When convenient, I answered. Not when I needed you. She choked on her words. This is outrageous. I tapped the camera case again. Outrage is the sound control makes when it dies. You're making a huge mistake. No, I said. I'm preventing one. What mistake? Letting you speak to me however you want. Ethan whispered, Mom, please don't hang up. Then listen carefully. The line went perfectly still. I delivered the sentence like a verdict. If peace means silence, I'm done being peaceful. A sharp inhale came through the speaker. Maybe, I added calmly, you should worry about losing me. Ethan's voice cracked. Mom? I ended the call. The screen went black. The villa stayed quiet. Inside that silence, nothing felt heavy. Only final. The call ended, but the phone didn't rest. It rang again before the screen even dimmed. I let it buzz on the table while I walked to the kitchen for water. By the time I returned, the call log showed 5 missed calls from Ethan, 3 from Nora. A new call came in. Unknown number. I let it ring. It went to voicemail. Another call. Same unknown number. I finally picked up. A firm voice spoke. Ma'am, this is the local police department. We received a welfare report from your son. My son thinks I'm unsafe because I didn't wash his wife's dishes. A pause on the other end. Ma'am, your son reported possible exploitation. Exploitation? I opened the balcony door to let cold air in. I'm drinking tea by a lake. Another pause. He insisted you were being influenced by strangers. I influence myself. The officer cleared his throat. We are required to perform a welfare check. Are you in immediate danger? I'm in Switzerland, I replied. The only danger here is overboiling the kettle. The officer stayed professional. So you are not being coerced? No one here tells me what to do. That's why I'm here. Understood. He hesitated. Would you like us to notify your son? No. Very well. We will close the report. Thank you. I hung up. The phone immediately vibrated again. Now texts. Ethan. Mom, the police said they couldn't reach you. What is going on? Ethan. We filed a welfare check to protect you. Nora. They called us back. They're asking questions. This is humiliating. Ethan. Please respond. I typed. I'm fine. Nora fired back instantly. You made us look insane to the police. I typed. You called them. They were supposed to help you. I didn't need help. I needed distance. Another buzz, multiple messages piling on top of each other. Ethan. We were scared. Nora. We were responsible. Ethan. You disappeared. Nora. You never should have ignored us. I typed. You ignored me for years. Silence for 3 seconds. Then Nora unleashed again. You could have been kidnapped, brainwashed, tricked. I was cleaning your kitchen last year, not exactly a vulnerable target. You're mocking us. I'm responding. My phone buzzed non-stop. 12 alerts, then 15, then 20. Ingrid stepped into the doorway. Everything all right? They called the police because I'm living well. She blinked once. Unbelievable. It's predictable. Klaus walked in behind her. Trouble? Only panic, I replied. He nodded. Boundaries confuse people who never had them. My phone vibrated against the table again. Ethan, Mom, please, just talk to me normally. Nora, you're acting like a stranger. Ethan, we care. Nora, this is childish. Another from Nora, you owe us an explanation. I typed, I owe you nothing. Instant reply. Nora, your behavior is dangerous. Living in a house? Dangerous for who? Ethan jumped in again. Mom, please, we need to understand. I typed, you need control. That's different. Another burst. Nora, I swear if you don't explain... Ethan, she didn't mean that. Nora, yes, I did. I locked the phone for a moment. The silence in the villa was solid, steady. Then I unlocked it again. 22 missed calls now. 22. I typed one line, stop calling. Nora responded instantly. We won't stop until you come home. I'm already home, I wrote. No, you're not. Klaus raised a brow. Persistent. They're losing their grip. He nodded once. They're panicking because you stopped accepting their version of reality. My phone buzzed again. Ethan, what can we do to fix this? Nora, we need a proper conversation, not these fragments. Ethan, tell us where you are. Nora, we're booking flights. I typed, do not come here. Nora, we will. I typed, you're not invited. Ethan, Mom, please don't do this. I already did. Klaus placed a cup of tea next to me. They're not hearing you. They will. The phone kept vibrating. Nora, everyone thinks you're losing your mind. Ethan, ignore her, just tell me you're okay. Nora, you better not embarrass us further. Ethan, Mom? I typed, I'm not the one embarrassing anyone. Nora, you called the police on yourself. You called them on me, I replied, because I didn't scrub your dishes. Her answer came fast. That's not why. It's exactly why. Another set of messages hit all at once. Ethan, what changed? Nora, who changed you? Ethan, what did someone tell you? Nora, you're acting possessed. I typed, I woke up. Ingrid let out the smallest laugh. Good answer. The phone buzzed again. Ethan, can you at least tell me when you're coming back? I'm not. Not ever? Not until respect is possible. The typing bubble from his end flickered for a long time. Then, I didn't know things were this bad. I typed, because you didn't look. Nora cut in immediately. Stop blaming us for everything. You created everything. We have responsibilities. So do I. To who? She demanded. To myself. She froze. At least the messages did. For the first time since the frenzy began, the screen stayed quiet. One final vibration arrived. Ethan. Mom, are we losing you? I typed, you're losing control, not me. Then I turned the phone face down and ended the chaos. The villa didn't shake. The lake didn't move. The world didn't end. Only their grip did. The next morning, the villa was silent. No calls, no messages, just still air and a cold cup of tea on the table. My phone sat face down beside it. I powered it on, not out of obligation, but out of choice. The screen lit up with nothing new. No demands, no commands, no instructions disguised as concern. Perfect. I opened the message thread with Ethan. His last line from the night before waited there. Mom, are we losing you? I read it once, then typed a new message slowly, without rush. If you want to see me, come for Christmas. I didn't add explanations. I didn't add conditions. I didn't soften it. One invitation. One chance. One clear boundary. I hit send. The message turned blue. I set the phone down and walked to the kitchen. Ingrid was preparing breakfast when she looked over her shoulder. You're up early. I sent a message. She set a plate on the counter. To them? Yes. She studied my face, not intrusively, just reading the temperature of the moment. Direct or gentle? Direct. Good. Gentle never worked with them. Klaus entered the room with a folder under his arm. More papers from the attorney. Small details. I nodded. Later. He placed the folder on the counter and tilted his head. Did you resolve things with your son? No. I opened a door. He can choose to walk through it. That's more than they gave you, he replied. My phone buzzed. Ingrid paused mid-step. That was fast. I didn't rush. I finished pouring tea, lifted the cup, then checked the screen. Ethan. What do you mean? Come where? I typed, Lucerne. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, Mom, is this real? I typed, yes. Another pause, then, does this include Nora? I stared at the message for a second, then typed, not this year. Almost instantly, She won't like that. I typed, "She doesn't have to." Ingrid let out a soft, satisfied breath. Finally. The phone buzzed again. Ethan. "Mom, I want to come, but I don't want to make anything worse." I typed, "You won't." Another pause. Then, "Are you inviting me because you're angry?" I typed, "No, because I'm clear." He took longer to reply this time. The typing bubble appeared, vanished, returned. "I want to see you." I responded, "Then come." I placed the phone down and sipped my tea. Klaus leaned on the counter. "He sounds different today." "Fear changes tone," I replied. "Clarity changes mine." Another buzz. "Ethan, when should I arrive?" I typed, "Christmas Eve." He replied almost immediately, "I can do that." Then a second message. "Do you want me to bring anything?" I typed, "Your honesty." He didn't answer right away. When the screen lit again, his reply was short. "I'll try." I locked the phone and slid it across the counter. Not away, but aside. The difference mattered. Ingrid lifted the teapot. "He's coming." "Yes." "No, Nora." "No." She set the pot down with a decisive nod. Then this might actually be peaceful. Klaus lifted the folder again. "And strategic." I gave him a look. "Strategic?" He shrugged once. "You extended respect without surrender. They won't know how to handle that." I smirked. "Good." My phone buzzed again. I checked it without rush. "Nora, what did you tell him?" I typed, "I invited him." Her reply fired back instantly. "You didn't invite me?" I typed, "Correct." "Are you punishing me?" "No." "Then why exclude me?" "Because this is between mother and son." "You can't do that." "Yes," I typed, "I can." She sent 3 messages in a row. "You're being unfair." "You can't divide us." "He's my husband." I didn't respond. Ingrid read the screen over my shoulder. "Leave her on red." I locked the phone. We moved into the main room where sunlight hit the floor in clean lines. No noise, no tension, no demands. After a full minute of quiet, my phone buzzed again. "Ethan, she's upset." I typed, "She'll adjust." He replied, "I don't want to choose sides." I typed, "Then don't. Just visit me. Alone." He took a long time this time. Almost a full minute passed before the bubble appeared. "Okay." I typed, "Safe travels." He replied, "Mom, thank you." I set the phone down. Not face down, not ready for battle, just down. Ingrid folded her arms. This was the right move. "It wasn't a move," I corrected. "It was a line." "Same thing," Klaus murmured. I didn't disagree. I walked toward the window, the lake steady in front of me. Behind me, the phone stayed still. No wars, no explosions, no panic. Only one message thread open. Only one invitation sent. Only one person who deserved it. Ethan. Snow fell lightly over the villa the afternoon he arrived. Klaus glanced toward the window. A car just stopped at the gate. I walked to the entry hall without rush. No tension, no dread, just steps. The gate opened slowly and a rideshare car pulled up the drive. The door opened. Ethan stepped out, holding nothing but a small backpack. He looked around the property like he wasn't sure he belonged there. Klaus opened the villa door for him. Ethan hesitated before climbing the steps. When he reached the threshold, he froze. "Mom." I kept my tone even. "You made it." He exhaled hard, the cold fogging in front of him. "I wasn't sure I should come." "You chose to. That's enough." He stepped inside. Klaus closed the door behind him with a quiet push. Ethan scanned the foyer. "This place is incredible. It's peaceful." He lifted his backpack slightly. "I didn't know what to bring." "I didn't ask you for anything." His shoulders lowered a bit. "Right. I gestured toward the sitting room. "Come in." He followed me, his steps careful, almost rehearsed. He looked at the fireplace, the windows, the lake beyond the glass. He rubbed his hands together. "This feels unreal." "It's real. Sit." He sat at the edge of the couch, like a guest who didn't trust the furniture. I stayed standing for a moment before sitting across from him. He swallowed once. "I wasn't sure you'd let me through the gate." "You're my son." He stared at the floor. "I didn't act like one." "That's correct." He flinched, but didn't argue. A long breath left him. "I want to apologize, but everything sounds small." "Then don't make it sound big. Make it sound true." He nodded once, steadying himself. "I was wrong." He paused. "I let Nora speak for both of us. I let things slide. I let her talk to you in ways I shouldn't have allowed. I didn't defend you." His voice shook. "And you deserved better." I didn't soften. "Yes, I'm sorry," he said quietly. "Not because you're here, not because of the money, because I hurt you." I remained still. "You did." He met my eyes finally. "But I want to do better." "Good." He looked confused for a second. "That's it?" "You apologized. I acknowledged it. That's how adults talk." He let out a breath that sounded like relief and disbelief mixed together. Ingrid stepped into the doorway with 2 cups of tea. She placed them on the table and left without a word. Ethan lifted 1 cup with a tremble in his hand. "I didn't know she had all this prepared for you," he murmured, "or that she trusted you this much." "She trusted me because I acted with dignity when there was nothing to gain." His throat tightened. "I didn't." "You can still start." His eyes reddened. Not dramatic, not theatrical, just real. He swallowed. "Nora wanted to come." "I know." "I didn't let her." I didn't blink. "Good." He nodded slowly. "She's angry." "She usually is." He let out a weak breath. "I need space from her." "That's your decision." He set the cup down. "Mom, I want to fix things with you. Really fix them." I leaned back slightly. "Then listen to the rules." He straightened. "Okay." 1, I began. "No speaking for me. Ever again." He nodded. "Agreed." 2, no allowing anyone, wife or not, to treat me like staff. A harder nod. "Agreed." "And 3, I continued, if you want a relationship with me, it has to be honest." He lifted his chin a little. "I can do that." I watched him for 5 seconds, long enough to see whether he would break eye contact. He didn't. "Good," I said. He let out a long breath. "Thank you for inviting me." "It wasn't a favor. It was an opportunity." "And I'm grateful," he replied. I stood. "Come with me." He followed me to the main window overlooking the lake. Snow drifted across the surface like dust. He stood beside me quietly. He spoke after a moment. "You really do look happier here." "I am." "Without us." "Without disrespect." He nodded. "I understand." We stood there until the quiet felt settled. Then he turned to me. "Mom, are we okay?" I kept my voice calm. "We can be." His eyes softened. "That's more than I hoped for." I gave one small nod. "Welcome home." His shoulders broke just a little, relief melting into his posture for the first time in years. He didn't try to hug me. He knew better than to assume. After a moment, he asked, "Can I stay here tonight?" "Yes." "In the guest room?" "Yes." "Thank you." "Don't thank me," I replied. "Respect me." He nodded again, slower this time, with intention. And for the first time since he was a boy, Ethan looked like someone who wanted to earn his place, not claim it. Dinner was simple. Salmon, potatoes, a bottle of white wine Renati always kept in the villa pantry. Ingrid set the plates down and stepped out quietly, closing the door behind her to give us space. Ethan sat across from me, posture straight, hands flat on the table like he was afraid to make a wrong move. The fire cracked once behind us, no other sound. He cleared his throat. "This place feels safe." "It is." He lifted his fork, then set it back down. "Mom, can we talk? Really talk?" "We are." He looked down, gathered himself. "I let things happen. I let Nora take the lead in everything. I thought staying quiet would keep the peace." "There was no peace," I answered. "Only silence." He nodded, ashamed but steady. "You're right." He reached for his glass. His fingers trembled slightly. "I wasn't blind. I saw how she talked to you. I saw how she treated you." He exhaled. "But she kept saying I was overreacting if I defended you, so I stopped defending you." "You chose convenience." He winced. "I did. You wanted her approval more than my respect." He didn't deny it. "Yes." I cut into the salmon. "Then own it fully." "I am," he replied. "I betrayed your trust." "No," I corrected. "You abandoned it." He closed his eyes for a second. Not dramatic, just processing. When he opened them again, his voice was quieter. "I'm sorry." "You should be." He nodded again. "I want to tell you everything. No excuses." "Good." He took a breath. "Nora is controlling. You know that." I noticed. But it got worse after we got married. Every small thing became a performance. Even holidays, even birthdays, even your visits. He hesitated. "She said including you made us look less modern." I set my fork down. "She said that?" "Yes," he replied. I didn't agree, but I didn't stop her. "You allowed a woman who benefits from my existence to belittle it." His face flushed. "I know, and it was wrong." He pushed his plate slightly away. "Mom, I need you to understand something. I wasn't siding with her because I believed her. I sided with her because it was easier than fighting." "That doesn't make it better." "No," he admitted. "It makes it worse." He leaned forward. "I should have told her to stop. I should have drawn lines, but I didn't. I let her choose how your place in our lives looked, and she chose small. I don't fit in small places." He gave a faint, sad smile. "I know that now." We sat with the quiet for a moment. Then he spoke again. "Mom, how did you forgive me enough to invite me here?" I lifted my glass and tapped the rim lightly. "I forgave myself first." He blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means I stopped blaming myself for the way you treated me. Once I let that go, forgiving you was simple." He swallowed. "I don't deserve it." "Probably not." He looked like he might break, but he didn't. He stayed present. I poured him more wine. "Deserving forgiveness isn't the point. Wanting to do better is." He held the glass but didn't drink yet. "I do want to do better." "Then start now." He nodded. "Tell me how." "By not hiding behind your wife," I replied. "By not letting her speak for you. By not letting her disrespect the woman who raised you." "I won't," he promised. "Words aren't enough." "I know." He straightened his shoulders. "I'll show you." Suddenly, a harsh vibration rattled the silverware. Ethan's phone, sitting near his wine glass, lit up. The screen flashed bright in the dim room. Nora. The name pulsed on the screen. Then a second later, a text preview popped up underneath. "Pick up. I know you're eating." I didn't speak. I didn't look at the phone. I looked only at him. Ethan stared at the screen. The old Ethan would have flinched. The old Ethan would have glanced at me with panic, mumbled an apology, and stepped outside to take the order. The phone buzzed again, louder this time, demanding. Ethan didn't look at me for permission. He reached out, his hand steady. He pressed the side button, silencing the call instantly. Then, with a deliberate heavy motion, he flipped the phone face down on the table. He didn't check for follow-up texts. He didn't put it on silent. He killed the noise. He looked back up at me. "I'm eating dinner with my mother," he said, his voice calm. She can wait. I paused long enough to measure the sincerity in his voice. I looked at the black back of the phone case, then at his eyes. I nodded once. Good. We returned to our plates. By not hiding behind your wife, I replied. By not letting her speak for you. By not letting her disrespect the woman who raised you. I won't, he promised. Words aren't enough. I know. He straightened his shoulders. I'll show you. I paused long enough to measure the sincerity in his voice. Then I nodded once. Good. We returned to our plates. A few quiet minutes passed before Ethan spoke again, softer this time. Mom, do you feel happier here? With this life? Yes, he swallowed. Without us? Without disrespect, I corrected. Your presence isn't the issue. Your behavior was. He nodded slowly, absorbing the distinction. I needed to hear that. You needed to learn that. He stared at his hands. I miss who we used to be. We can be better than that, I replied, but not if I have to fight for space in your life. You won't have to, he said firmly. We finished eating. Ingrid returned silently to collect the plates. She gave Ethan a small, approving nod before leaving the room again. He glanced toward the fireplace. Mom, I want a real relationship with you. Not one Nora manages. Not one built on fear. A real one. Then choose it. I am choosing it. I leaned back. Then hear me clearly. Peace isn't silence. It's control. He repeated the words under his breath. Peace isn't silence. It's control. Exactly. He looked at me with something different in his eyes. Recognition, not guilt. Thank you for this meal and for this chance. This isn't a chance, I corrected. It's a beginning, if you treat it seriously. I will. I stood. He stood as well. We faced each other across the table, not as adversaries, not as strangers, as mother and son, finally aligned. Good night, Ethan. Good night, Mom. He stepped out of the dining room quietly, his posture steadier than when he'd arrived. The fire crackled. The room held truth without bitterness, the kind of truth that builds, not breaks. Christmas morning broke quietly over the lake. Light touched the windows in soft lines. I walked into the sitting room and found Ethan already awake, standing near the balcony door, holding a small wrapped box in both hands. He turned when he heard my steps. Morning, Mom. Morning. He offered the box, almost hesitant. I found this last night. I wanted you to have it today. I took it, unwrapped the ribbon, and lifted the lid. Inside was a small framed photo, me holding him when he was 5, both of us bundled in winter coats outside an old apartment building. Nothing expensive, nothing dramatic, just us. Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. I kept it in a drawer for years. I didn't look at it much because it made me feel guilty. He swallowed. I want it to make me better instead. I looked at the frame for a moment. Good. He let out a breath, not relief, not tension, just release. I meant what I said last night. I want to start over. Then stay consistent. That's how trust grows. He nodded. I will. We walked to the balcony. Snow rested gently on the railing. The lake spread wide and bright below us. No noise, no pressure, no frantic messages. He rested his hands on the railing. It's peaceful here. Peaceful is earned, he nodded, and I didn't help you earn any of it. You can help now. He looked at me, steady. Tell me what that looks like. Respect, I answered. Boundaries. Honesty. No middlemen. No Nora. No anyone. He accepted that without argument. I understand. We stood there for a moment as the wind shifted lightly across the lake. He spoke again, lower. Mom, I don't want to lose you. You're not losing me. You're seeing me. He closed his eyes briefly. I didn't see you for a long time. You saw the version of me she painted. He didn't deny it. I did. And now? I see the real thing. I nodded once. Then this is a beginning. Ingrid stepped quietly into the room behind us. Breakfast is ready whenever you want it. Thank you, I said. Ethan turned toward her. Thank you for taking care of her. Ingrid gave him a warm, approving nod before disappearing back into the kitchen. We moved to the dining table. Simple breakfast, bread, jam, fruit, coffee, nothing extravagant, just enough. Ethan held his mug. I told Nora I needed space. Good. She didn't like that. She wouldn't. He lifted the mug. But I said it anyway. I nodded. Do you feel lighter? Yes, he admitted. I think I do. We ate quietly. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't distant. It was settled. He glanced at the photo frame resting on the table beside me. You were smiling in that old picture. I had reason to. He looked me in the eye. I want to give you reasons again. You can, if you stay honest. I will. After breakfast, we walked back toward the balcony. The light shimmered across the lake. Ethan stood beside me. Not behind, not in front, not hiding. He spoke softly. Mom, can we make this a tradition? Me visiting you here. Just us. If you keep your word, I will. We stood quietly, watching the lake together. After a moment, he asked, Do you forgive me? I forgave myself. That made forgiving you possible. His shoulders lowered as if the weight finally understood where it belonged. He stared out over the water again. I'm proud of you. I turned slightly. For what? For leaving, for living, for showing me how to grow up. I didn't smile, but something inside me settled. Then learn from it. I will, he promised. I'm not going back to how things were. Good. We stood in silence again. This time not heavy, not tense. Just true. He let out a slow breath. Mom? Yes. I love you. Short, clean, no performance. I love you too. The sunlight brightened across the lake. The morning felt honest. No shouting, no manipulation, no dishes, no demands, just dignity, just clarity. Just us. I picked up the photo frame and held it lightly in one hand. Ethan watched me, waiting, not pushing. We walked back inside together. The door closed quietly behind us. Christmas morning finally felt like Christmas, and for the first time in years, peace wasn't silence. It was understanding. And that was my Christmas in Lucerne. Not loud, not perfect, but honest, finally honest. If this story reached you, if you felt even a piece of Nadia's journey, thank you for spending your time here with me today. Your support keeps stories like this alive, stories about boundaries, dignity, and the kind of quiet strength the world often misunderstands. If you'd like to hear more stories of justice, family, and second chances, you can subscribe, leave a like, or share this video with someone who might need it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next story. Until then, be well, stay strong, and always choose peace that comes with clarity.